Clash of Clans today looks absolutely nothing like it did when it first launched. And I'm not just talking about graphics or new troops. I'm talking about mechanics so different, so bizarre, that if you went back in time, you'd probably think you were playing a completely different game. This is the new versus old Clash of Clans. In the beginning, troops and spells cost not just elixir, but also dark elixir and gold to train. Training times were absolutely brutal. A single Pekka took 45 minutes. 45 minutes for one troop. And here's something that'll drive you crazy. New troops unlocked when you upgraded your barracks, but if you were upgrading that barracks again while others were below its level, the troop would be locked, and you couldn't train it until the upgrade completed. Healers used to be absolutely broken when used in large numbers. There was actually a strategy called Super Queen, where players would use as many healers as they could with some troops to funnel. These things used to take 20 housing space, which was later reduced to 14 because they were just too powerful. But here's where it gets really wild. If you had healers in your clan castle, they could actually heal buildings. Yeah, buildings. This was removed in 2014 when Supercell gave the healer's AI a complete rework. The poison spell did not have its animation when it was launched first, but during Halloween 2015, Supercell gave it temporary spooky animations and sound effects. The community loved it so much that it became permanent. Here's something that made absolutely no sense. The jump spell used to have housing space limits. A level 1 jump spell could only make troops with 4 housing space or less jump through walls. You had to upgrade it to increase the housing space limit. Compare that to today, where upgrading increases the duration instead. Way more logical. When the skeleton spell was first released, it did exactly what you'd expect. It spawned skeletons. But in 2019, Supercell changed it to spawn guards instead. And honestly, it's still considered one of the most useless spells in the game. The lightning spell used to be absolutely chaotic. It took 2 housing space and struck multiple times with a completely random pattern. It was incredibly difficult to master because you never knew exactly where it would hit. And get this, it used to take 14 hours to brew. That was changed in October 2012, thank goodness. Oh, and it could damage town halls, clan castles, and storages, which was all removed later because it was way too overpowered. When magic items were first introduced, you could hold way more than today. Imagine having 10 books and 20 potions just sitting in your inventory. But according to Supercell's community manager, this became a problem because players would hoard everything, upgrade everything at once, and then complain there was nothing left to do. Heroes used to cost an absolutely ridiculous amount of resources. The Barbarian King cost 10,000 Dark Elixir, while the Archer Queen cost 40,000. And remember, at Town Hall 7, there were no Dark Elixir drills. Farming Dark Elixir was the hardest thing in the game. But here's the crazy part. There was actually a time when you could get Dark Elixir by deploying lightning spells on Dark Elixir storages. It was pretty broken and got removed quickly. Now this is something almost nobody remembers, but Pekkas used to spin while they attacked. Apparently this ability was removed from the game very early on, but it was actually there in the beginning. When Hog Riders were first introduced, they didn't have a favorite target. They would literally attack everything. Buildings, decorations, whatever was closest. This was later changed to target defenses specifically, which definitely added to the Hog Riders' popularity. Here's a throwback that'll make you feel old. Troop levels used to be represented by stars. A level 4 troop had 4 stars above it. Compare that to today, where the level is clearly displayed as a number. Way less confusing. When Town Hall 11 first dropped, it looked completely different than it does today. But here's where it gets interesting. The Eagle Artillery wasn't just cosmetically different. This thing used to deal 3x more damage to golems and golemites. Yeah, you heard that right. Supercell later removed this because, well, it was absolutely brutal. Now here's something that'll make you appreciate modern Clash. Back in the day, when someone attacked your village, you had absolutely no idea what was happening. Sure, replays existed, but there was no way to watch live attacks. All you'd get was a screen telling you that you were being attacked. That's it. No spectating, just pure anxiety until it was over. If you think the current air defenses look good, wait until you hear about the original design. The old air defenses had way more visual detail and looked completely different from what we have today. This design stayed in the game until 2016, when Supercell gave them their final redesign, the one we see today. Here's where things get really wild. In the initial launch of Clash of Clans, traps didn't have levels at all. You bought them once with Dark Elixir. Yeah, Dark Elixir, not gold. And that was it. They didn't get their leveling system until 2013. Once someone attacked you and your traps were triggered, you had to manually rearm every single one with gold. And this wasn't just traps. X-bows, Inferno Towers, and even Eagle Artillery worked the same way. Compare that to today, where you just need to log in, and everything rearms automatically. There was a time when you had to tap every single collector to collect your resources. And honestly, it was pretty satisfying. But Supercell decided to speed things up and removed this feature in 2017. Now you just tap one collector and boom, everything's collected. When the Grand Warden first launched, he looked, well, let's just say a little goofy. He was holding his book in his right hand and his wand in his left, but here's the real kicker. You could only change his air-to-ground mode in your village. Once you entered battle, you were stuck with whatever mode you chose. No switching mid-attack. Here's a fun fact that might surprise you. Tesla Towers used to have a special ability where they dealt 2x more damage to Pekkas. This was in the game for 3 whole years. Even though Pekkas were incredibly powerful and took 45 minutes to train, Supercell still thought they needed this extra counter. The laboratory used to become completely useless once you started an upgrade. It would literally lock you out until the upgrade was complete. No starting new research, no checking progress, just a locked building taunting you. For nearly 4 years, there was no way to find out where your builders were working. No builder suggestions, no indicators, nothing. And if you wanted to know if you had any buildings that weren't maxed for your town hall level, good luck figuring that out on your own. The Inferno Tower was given a buff that made a lot of players actually quit the game. It would completely negate all healing effects, regardless of what you were using. Once it locked onto a troop or hero, there was absolutely no way to heal them. It was pretty brutal. One of the most frustrating things was losing your clan castle troops every time someone attacked you. There was no sleep mode option, and given the long training times and no raid medal system, losing those troops was genuinely painful. Archer towers used to be painfully slow. Supercell eventually reworked them, increasing their hit speed, but reducing their damage slightly to balance things out. The village size has steadily increased over the years. It started as 38 by 38 tiles, then grew to 40 by 40, and now we have 44 by 44. That's actually a pretty significant expansion when you think about it. Apparently, giant bombs used to deal 1.5x extra damage to Hog Riders. This was mainly because Hog Riders were incredibly popular at the time, and Supercell needed a hard counter. Back in the day, if your attack timer ran out, you had to attack that base or lose trophies. It was incredibly annoying compared to today. If the timer ran out, you could just end the battle before deploying anything and you wouldn't lose trophies. If you were attacking someone and suddenly got disconnected, the attack would immediately stop. This was really frustrating because it wasn't your fault you lost the battle. Compare that to today, where if you deploy your troops and leave, the battle keeps going without you. Clash of Clans has come such a long way from its humble beginnings. From manual trap rearming to spinning Pekkas. From 45-minute training times to instant donations. The game we play today is practically unrecognizable from the original. And honestly, that's what makes this game so incredible. Sure, some of these old features might sound frustrating now, but they were all part of the journey that brought us to where we are today. So next time you're playing, take a moment to appreciate just how far we've come. Because trust me, you definitely don't want to go back to those 45-minute Pekka training times.